Everybody, you're watching the Joey Ciccone Show Connected, live from Las Vegas. We're here in the studio today, World Center of Broadcast Media. I wanted to just tell you, I missed you at Christmas time. We had some technical stuff happen. It's okay. We bring it all back. We do it. I've been doing this for 40 years. It's a walk in the park, all right? All right. My guest, Luellen Smiley. I'm sorry. I call her Lulu. She's a beautiful person. We're going right back into it. Jill, Lawrence, Dominic, all you guys chatting in. Please chat in, hit the button, ask the question. Now that the book is done, Lulu, is it a big relief?
A milestone.
I think that says enough.
20 years.
Right. When I read everything and it started that I was trying to grab this as I grew up and trying to grab this information as I grew up, and I would never say my show had anything to do with it, but the drive that you had from maybe September to the end of the year put this book together. And friends, let me show you something here before I ask any more questions. This is the FBI logo, okay? Which means in the book is FBI surveillance and everything else on her dad that's going to tell you who he was, where he was, and what was going on. You want to know the real facts? Then you buy the book and check it out. I highly recommend it. I'm not here to sell books. I'm just here as a host and as an entertainer to tell you the way it is. I want to talk about a gentleman that's mentioned in the book. All right, tell us about Johnny Roselli.
Yes, Uncle Johnny.
Uncle Johnny, wow.
Uncle Johnny. And do you want me to speak about him in general, or do you have a specific question?
Yes, I do. When I was reading, it stated that he had allegiance to the Chicago outfit and the Los Angeles crime family, and very big in Las Vegas, baby. That's what I want to talk about. So you want to shine some light on that. If it is a question, it's basically that Uncle Johnny had ties here, with not just with the Chicago outfit, which was big. I'm talking the Chicago outfit. Then the Los Angeles crime family, which when you're on the West Coast, that was a whole different thing. But it went on, trust me. All right? And then the big ties here in Las Vegas.
Right. He was sent out, after he proved himself as an enforcer with Capone, he was sent out to Los Angeles to take over the unions in the film business. And he was so suave and so charismatic and very, very, very diplomatic. You wouldn't think that this man had the power of murder, because his presence was more like an ambassador. And he came out to California and he met my dad through studios. He organized labor unions, the strikes. He made deals. His business card read, John Roselli, strategist. He was my favorite friend of my dad. He was the most loving, caring, considerate, and sort of a mediator, between my father and I. When my father would get crazy angry, shouting and screaming, Roselli would raise his hand and say, "Keep it down, Smiley. She's just a little girl." I'll never forget that. He brokered those deals with Howard Hughes in Vegas. He was, and then of course the CIA hired him him and Sam Giancana to take out Fidel Castro, which is a big story. And then
right.
There's just so much, and there's a wonderful book that's still out called John Roselli, All-American Mafioso. And it's a really great book. I knew the author. He passed away, but that's a good book.
I will check out that. I want to welcome Charlie. I want to welcome Charlie to the show. I got to give myself a little plug because I work hard. You're the most entertaining show on the internet. Keep up the good work. Charlie, thank you. Happy New Year 2017. Jill, which has always been a big fan, agreed. Nothing like ending the year with a little Joey Ciccone. And Luellen Smiley. I'm moving along, please, all right? My question is going to be this. John Roselli, Filippo Sacco. Gabish?
Yeah.
I read the book, honey, all right? All right, he worked for the Capone family in the 1920s. He also emerged as a senior crime boss in Las Vegas with close links to Meyer Lansky and the family that you know, and was close with, which really surprised me, but was close with Florida's Santo Trafficani. All right, and these guys were tied, man. You want to watch movies and stuff, they'll show you some things, but this is the real deal right now. All right, so I don't know if it was a question or if it was a statement I wanted to make, but we know that he was close with Meyer and did work with Santo in Miami.
Yeah.
And that's
he was a real heavyweight. Real heavyweight.
Right, and that's
he proved himself over and over, and so they would call on him to really handle so many types of conflicts and arguments and those kinds of situations that come up between different gangs. You know, so he evolved from an enforcer to really more of a negotiator and a business deals. You know, I mean, who got to see Howard Hughes? Nobody, but he did.
Right.
And I found out from his godson, who I'm very close with, that when John went to meet Howard Hughes, he had his feet in 2 boxes of Kleenex.
Madonna mia, he was crying so much he needed a lot of Kleenex. I gotta hang on. I gotta read you some things here, man, because you know, fans, I've missed you, and when you guys write, when you take the time to write something, it warms my heart. Thank you for coming on Joey's show, Lulu. Was your dad a low key? Was your dad a low key mobster, or did the public recognize him when he was out? I kind of know the answer, but go ahead.
It's funny because there is a segment of my life where I remember in my teens, I had a gang of girlfriends, right? Now, there was a few that would accept me, their parents would accept me, and then there was a number that wouldn't. Okay, so because he was in the newspaper, they did know who he was. They knew. I didn't know, but they knew. They knew. And I think that was, that's something I was just oblivious to it. None of this really made any sense to me until I really dissected it under a microscope.
Of course.
But yeah.
And
a lot of times when we would go walking in Beverly Hills, and people would be waving at him. I said, "Dad, who's that?" Just keep walking. Just keep walking. So he was always on guard that the wrong person was going to come up and say the wrong thing.
Right, but not just that. I had a very heavyweight connected man on my show, and he's a very good friend, Tony Montana, out of the Chicago outfit, and he told me, Joey, and Scott was here, and a lot of my friends out there heard that, and the bottom line was this: he would go to dinner with his wife, and he would walk into a place, and anyone he was connected with, he didn't know anybody. He had dinner with his wife, and basically, gestured hello, to be nice and everything, but not go over and like, how you doing, Tony? How you been, Jimmy? This.
Exactly.
It was very low key.
Exactly.
I got little Tony in the house. This is only my second week watching, but I can't wait for the following weeks. Well, Tone, I might be on CNN tomorrow. I don't know. Put a call in, do something. I don't know. But I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad to be doing what I do, man. I love it. I'm going back to my girl here. I got to finish these questions because that's my job. And when I write 20 questions down, I want to get them done, all right? All right?
Okay.
Were there any regrets?
Personally?
Yeah.
In relation to what? I regret lots of things. I'm not one of those people that says, I don't regret anything in my life.
Right.
I regret that I didn't listen to my father, and I was very much a rebel like him and had to go swim upstream instead of going with the flow. He offered to help me in real estate business and tried very hard to connect me with a nice, wealthy Jewish doctor so I could live in Beverly Hills. But that wasn't good enough for me.
Right, but I want to, on that note, I just want to say, darling, Happy Hanukkah. I got to reach out to all my Jewish friends. Happy Hanukkah. Please.
Thank you.
It's not all about Christmas, all right? But I guess what I was trying to say was regrets in writing the book or this and that. But before you answer that, I want to move on to my questions. Were there many rewrites in this book?
Were there many what? I didn't understand.
Yeah, rewrites. You know, were there... Scott, do I turn it this way? Or?
Many, over 20 years. It started out as an 800-page novel. Okay? Because I didn't have any information, so I just imagined the story of my father and mother. And it mutated probably 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You never stop editing until, even with publishing it, it went back and forth and back and forth. And I have been told that there are errors in grammar and formatting. I'm self-taught writer, and so I don't concentrate on syntax. So I apologize for those errors in the book, but it was all up to me. I didn't have a professional editor doing that. So
that's all right. All right. We're not worried about that, but do you know how to spell Ciccone? I'm just playing with you. Leave it alone.
No,
leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Oh.
You got my buddy Dominic. He's been following me for 5-6 months. My buddy gave him a book. I still don't know who this guy is, but he says Lulu is beautiful. And I'm telling you right now, from the bottom of my heart, you saw the picture Scott's throwing up in the corner, right? She is. She was associated with the Mob Attraction, okay? I apologize. The Mob Experience is what it started at. Okay, that was at the Tropicana. And that picture of you in the green, Madonna Mia, forget about it, all right. And then you got Lawrence, Joe, where's the vodka? It's not vodka. I'm having a little ginger ale. My throat's a little dry. Let me move on to my questions, all right? Where can they get this lovely book?
Well, the book is on Amazon. You just type in Cradle of Crime. It's $14, $1 a chapter. And it's also on my own website, Create Space. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's not in any bookstores in Las Vegas because I haven't been there. But next time I come, Joey will speed over to the bookstores and take them down. Get the book in the bookstores.
No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do a signing at like a Barnes & Noble or one of the places here. This has to be done, and I will make it happen. And if we have to, we got to go to the Mob Museum, and we'll take care of that. I'm telling you right now, it's the bomb. Your mom was gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I know she was in the movies. We talked about it last time, but I want to move on a little bit. We have we're going to be closing here shortly, so I want to keep going. Talked about where we can get it. I see there's like 7 5-star reviews on Amazon, so I want to say congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And it makes a beautiful present for the new year. I gotta make yous all laugh, but watch. It makes a beautiful present, and these are all the books I get from everybody that sends me. And I'll tell you right now, The Real Tony Montana, a must. The Last Longshoreman, Colada, all right? Redemption Alley, A Wiser Guy, Gotti's Rules. These are guys I've had on the show. They're all connected, just like Luellen is, okay? All right? And these are the books I get. Do I read the books? Of course I read the books. to do an interview correctly, you have to find out what's going on in people's lives, and we're talking connected people that are related to people that are in this business, and you might call it whatever you want. That's up to you. But I'll tell you right now, the biggest pictures you watch are mob movies, whether it's The Godfather, Goodfellas, this, that, whatever, Donnie Brasco, whatever. They touch on things. We touch on things that really happen. All right, I'm moving along, sweetheart. I love this question, man. It's number 18, and the time's beautiful. Scott, thank you for letting us do the 2020. You guys chat in a little bit more. If you want to ask Lulu a question, she's here now. She's had a year of 2016 that's very interesting. And it's hard on all of us, and I think we all had a hard year, and we hope and pray for 2017 to make it better for all of us. But I love this question so much. So, if your dad could speak to you, what would he say about this project?
Well, interesting question. People have asked why it took 20 years. Honestly, his voice was in my head. How dare you reveal the family secret? And I struggled with that a lot. And there have been many different versions of the book, because there were other versions where I more went into depth about his treatment of me. He was really terrifying. But this version, I said, you know what? This works. I left out all the stuff, the way, I give examples of, different scenes. I replay the scenes with him and I, but I think he'd be proud of it, I have to tell you. I do, and I think my mom would too. And the best part of this, Joey?
Yeah, honey.
Do you realize in doing all this research, I discovered his family. I didn't know he had family. I didn't know I had cousins and great aunts.
Now you have them. That's
they're
beautiful.
reading the book, and they're learning about the Luellen Smiley that nobody was allowed to talk about.
That's right. I'm talking. We're talking about Alan. We're talking about Luellen Smiley. I want to say, I like to say best friend of Ben Siegel. You guys know him as Bugsy, creating the Flamingo. We're here in Vegas, okay? This man was like his best buddy, okay? And this is his daughter talking.
Sitting next to him the night he was murdered.
I know. I want to get to that. I got like 5 minutes. So anyway, Jill, thanks for saying good question. I'm back on 19. It's great. I'm going through all my questions today. It's great. Can you explain the Freedom of Information Act?
Certainly. It's very easy now. When I started, it wasn't digitalized. But if you go on the web, Freedom of Information Act, they have a whole system now, and they have numerous people that are already on line that you can access. You want to read about Johnny Roselli, you can, about Ben Siegel. When I made the request, it took 3 years to get my father's file. I don't think there's that kind of wait now, because now it's all digital. And it's fascinating when you go online and you click on, John Lennon is on there, for example. How many people that they put into that system to trace? Right.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I got a few more. So she just answered that for you. Before I get to that, for my last question. When we talked, I know you weren't feeling well, and I don't want to get into all that. But the bottom line is, Joy, I might be able to do 1 or 2 segments with you. Last week we were scheduled to do a whole show. That's the past. The bottom line is this: you stayed with me the whole hour, okay? But for my fans and for myself, I really need to know this answer, and we talked about it off the air. Before I give you your last question, this is the one before the last question, all right? Okay? Your father was in Virginia Hills home. Bugsy Ben Siegel was killed. He was whacked. He was murdered, however you want to call it. People might not know this, friends, but I'll tell you right now, this is a known fact, and it's in this book. Her daddy was right there sitting right next to him. He took a shot. He didn't die. But the bottom line is, I'm going to ask you, and you can plead the fifth with me if you want. Who put the hit on Ben Siegel?
$24,000 question. Who ordered the hit? Most likely it was Chicago.
Yes.
One of the heads of the Chicago.
I agree with you there. But go ahead.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Did you want to name any names that we talked about or what? It doesn't matter anymore. Let's tell it like it is.
Right. Right. Well, I go into detail on that in the last chapter, because a lot of people have said, oh, well, your father must have been there to set him up, or how come your father didn't die? Well, you have to read the book to get the answer, because it's really quite fascinating and surprising. But, yeah, there was most likely Chicago, and Meyer couldn't stop it. He just couldn't stop it.
Right. Maybe the Flamingo played a part. Maybe a lot played the part. They wanted to take him out, and maybe your dad took a shot because the guy's bullet wasn't real clear. I don't know. But we know that Luellen Smiley was sitting on the couch in Virginia Hill's house with Bugsy Siegel on the night he was killed. Is that correct?
Yes, he did take a shot through his sports coat, which is still at the Beverly Hills Police Department. I asked for it, and they said it's still an open case.
Well, we'll make a phone call. We're going to get the jacket. Which size is the jacket? It's a joke. I'm playing with it. All right, listen, Charlie, have a good New Year. Lulu and Joey, we're going to have a good New Year.
Thank you so much for having me back. I always like to talk to you, and if I get any good news or somebody comes after me, I'll
You
get
call
on the show again.
You call Joey Ciccone. One last question. We got 2 seconds. Has it been therapeutic for you to write this book?
The best.
Okay.
You know, when I first opened the few pages and started reading about him, I was stricken with shame.
Of course you were, but you learned about your dad, and at the 12 o'clock hour...
Your parents until you know what their life was like.
Right. At the 12 o'clock hour in Las Vegas, Nevada, I want to say Happy New Year to all my fans and friends, everyone that's followed me. We're going to be moving in a whole nother direction, but I will always stay with the Connected Show, bringing you the people that were connected. I want you to do me a favor, because this is a personal friend, but I've read a lot of books. You can see them all over here. This one's a real 5-star. Cradle of Crime. I want to thank Luellen Smiley. I love you. I want to thank my engineer Scott for making it all happen. We're going to be rolling out of here. I'll see you next week and into the new year of 2017, and I'm bringing you some big guys that are talking. You know, guys are getting out of prison, you know. They want to talk a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I love you. Joey Ciccone, World Center of Broadcast Media. All right, I'll see you next week.